It was adopted last year, July 2024. This kind of brings some things up to standards as far as backflow devices, cross connection control. Right now, I also attached our ordinance that is from 1995. So we're in the process of updating that ordinance, and we'll hopefully have it in front of the full board here pretty soon. Um, just a couple heads ups on some things that will be coming out of this. There will be kind of a soft rollout of us sending out, doing some hazard assessments on properties, requiring backflow devices on properties that don't have backflow devices right now, that have kind of slipped through cracks of the past and through the old ordinance and stuff of that nature. So, well, just a general report. So we had Tiffany Burke, our admin tech. She had customer service pull a report, and commercial accounts, all commercial accounts should have backflow devices. Right now, there's only about 20% of commercial accounts have backflow devices. So it's hard to say final count of how many we're going to be requiring. Obviously, this is kind of a new thing, new expense. I want to give people plenty amount of time to kind of get their actions together when we do get these letters out, but this kind of sets the ground for us to do that. And that's what the state is wanting us to do. Not necessarily. Depending, not all of them. So it depends on what kind of hazard you have at your property. So if somebody, the basic one is if you have a well on your property, that is another type of water source. And we do not want a cross connection. We don't want that well water to come back into our public, protected system. So we will require a backflow device. Other places that have ponds on their property, water features, pools are a big thing. Because pool is a big body of water that is, got chlorine, who knows what else is in there.
And thank you. And how do we know these things about our customers? Pool, pond, well?
Basically doing property assessments.
Okay.
Looking at, that's one thing that the new handbook does require us, is to do new assessments on basically all customers.
Is that like drone work or knocking door to door or filling out surveys? How is the assessment done?
All the above.
Okay.
Google Earth is a good tool that we can use for
Okay.
pools, ponds, stuff like that. But we can send out some surveys, and I expect this to be kind of not a long process, but I want to, like I said before, give people some time to react to this. And the biggest part of this new handbook, public education. So we have to set up so many public outreaches, town hall meetings to educate our customers about this.
And this is the state regulation that we're complying with?
Correct.
I just always want that to be the first. I don't want them to think that we're the ones
It's not us.
knocking on your door. We're being told to knock on your door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe we can do a little, door hanger with, Governor Newsom's picture on it.
we might be able to pull something like that. Yeah. No. Do you want to add anything, Damon? Or if you guys have any other questions?
No, I think you did a great job, Jesse. I think just to summarize really quick is the ordinance needs to be in place by July 1 of this coming year. So the beginning of our fiscal year. And then the plan is to conduct town halls, public information efforts as we move through 25 into 26.
So we got
to implement the requirements.
3 months in 25, July 25. Yeah.
This plan has to be adopted by CCWD by July 1 of 20.
Now,
Okay.
was there a state law that made this happen?
Overhauled the backflow requirements, took it out of Twilight
17.
and created its own, basically, provision.
Yeah. Well, you know what I'm
Yeah.
looking for. I just want,
Yes.
I want our public awareness to start with, that this is something, another thing that we have to comply with that costs us money, that they don't send a check for us to do anything about
Yeah.
it. So,
Definitely.
What happened this was established, the handbook was established in 23. Was that prior to state law?
No, that's part of it. So within that handbook, that's where it kind of lists out our requirements as far as we need to have an ordinance by July 1st, 2025.
Well, the state law was passed back then with the current dates of 25. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
what are these, any idea on cost of what these backflow devices? I mean, are they different for, I suppose meter size?
Like a 5/8 inch to 1 inch backflow device is going to probably run you around 400, I'm guessing.
And that's the customer's responsibility?
That is correct.
To pay for it and install it?
That is correct.
And do we have any oversight on that it's installed check? I mean, or even that it's installed properly?
Yeah, so as of right now, under the old ordinance, we do have I guess you'd call it a template of how, because, when a new customer comes in and engineering department looks over everything, they go, okay, here's backflow device paperwork. This is how it needs to be installed. Inspector will come out, look at it, make sure it's installed correctly.
Are these things readily available?
Yeah, I would say, I believe you can go down to Senders and get a backflow device off the shelf.
I guess you can tell I didn't review all of this.
Not cool, Scott.
There were some typos on page 33 I wanted to go over.
Yeah, it should be indented a little bit more on
okay,
that
yeah.
subsections of, I noticed that as well. Good catch.
It is pretty crazy that we have that many pages on our handbook.
Yeah, this is definitely nothing that CCWD wanted to be like, hey, let's get something else on our plate.
Yeah. I don't know that I have one on the property I have there on Manjoli Lane. I can't remember if I have one there.
You have a pool?
No, but it's commercial.
Requirement. Yeah, no, it's so, as far as Michael's pointing out, so as far as installation, that's a one-time thing. You install the backflow device, then these things have to be tested annually for the rest of its life
By who?
by a certified tester.
See, that's gonna be my new career.
That's
Yep.
again, the
I
expense
am
of the,
gonna sign
on the
up for that.
customer.
That is correct.
And are any property owners advised of this? Are there, have
That's
there
what we're
been
gonna do.
notices sent out by the state that this was a requirement, or is that all on us?
It's on us.
Who,
We're-
so how are we gonna police that? I mean, how many of these things do you think we're gonna have?
So there's kind of, like Jesse said earlier, there's kind of multiple ways. So we have to have one certified cross connection specialist staff. That's Jesse. And Tiffany, who we just talked about earlier, does a great job helping with the backflow program essentially. So Tiffany will send out reminder letters, to all those folks that we know that have, reminding them throughout the year that it's time to get it tested, like Michael touched upon. So that annual requirement is addressed periodically throughout the year. And then if they can't submit back to us proof that they have tested this device, and we're working on process through our workforce system to make that easier for the backflow test. They can't do that, then we go out and we.
So they can't, or they don't, either one?
Both, either one, we'll go out and have it tested and they will be billed. Now, so the long answer the question, Director Davidson, is those that are aware, because they manage this year over year. However, I've just talked about before, as this program, which is being kind of cinched down by the state, becomes more and more onerous, we're gonna have to do some public outreach to talk to folks about the fact, perhaps, in the past umpteen years, you haven't had to comply with the backflow requirement. Now you're going to have to, and here's why. And then we'll have those conversations with folks. We'll do the outreach, we'll send out the information. And then with the objective is to comply with state requirement.
Wow.
Is there a requirement that, because I know with this stupid thing that we're having to do with the drainage, I believe that we're required to sign a contract with somebody to do the inspecting of the surface water drainage thing that they're doing. Did we have to do that on this building? I know we had to comply with the surface water storage thing, but the county is requiring a contract with a license, somebody to go out there on an annual basis and make sure that these things are still operational. I'm talking about the decanting your gutters into a basin of some kind. Is that kind of, but it's for flood control.
Yeah,
Theoretically. Stormwater.
Yeah.
But we don't have to do that.
No, so our extent is when Tiffany mails out the letters, there's a list of certified testers that are on that form that they have control of calling.
And so we're gonna give them 60 days, and if we don't, then we can send somebody out there.
Yeah, so as right now, the way the program works, we send one letter. If we don't receive a test result of the passing device, then we'll send another letter. And on that letter is a date if we don't get a test report then we go out and test and bill their account.
And do we know at that time what we're gonna be charging them? Is that in that second letter, that dollar
It
figure
is,
that they're?
and unfortunately, our fee is very low. It's at $50. And right now, testers are anywhere from,
Is that state mandated too?
no,
Can
testers.
we actually do it for that price? Shouldn't it be priced at what it is costing us, labor, material, gas?
Exactly, it should, and that's an old fee that has been kind of passed down. That's something else that needs to be brought back to raise that fee. And that's something that if we can, yeah,
And that's not in this policy?
no, because the state doesn't,
Oh, this is all from the state?
that's all from the
Oh,
state.
I thought you guys been working hard since 23.
It's a lot of copy and pasting now. No, that's the state handbook.
Okay,
that we'll
gotcha.
be creating the ordinance from.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's also attached and
so it's gonna change
Okay.
significantly. And that handbook that you had before you is kind of the framework from which we had to draw from to make this new updated backflow prevention.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, just like door tags or anything else that we do, it's got to be based on, or what things we used to do, should be based on what it's costing the district.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely.
And then it'd be a deterrent to quit ignoring the letters that are being sent to them too, if they see that price. What is the price that those vendors that we're suggesting, what are they going to be?
It varies.
Charge.
So right now, I think a tester will charge between $40 to $130
Oh,
to test. So it just varies.
that's what you want to do for the rest of your
I
life?
don't know. What do I have to do I mean, what certification do I have to have for that?
Just a tester certification. We'll run you through it.
Yeah, all right, perfect. Yeah, give me a number. All right. The action would be just to bring this forward to the board?
Yeah.
Okay,
Once the ordinance is ready and set.
all right. Are you okay with that, Scott?
Yeah, are you going to be updating the ordinance before you bring it to the board, like with the dollar figures? Is that what you're working on
Well,
that now, or just initially introducing? this like you're doing here?
Yeah, that's an interesting, I guess we'd have to reach out to Matt too, Mr. Weber, to see if we could put fees in the ordinance. I don't know if that's a prop.
The
Yeah,
objective would be before July 1, we adopt an updated program and plan. If we can incorporate the fees, we will. One thought, and I think this is what Jess referred to, maybe talking about that, and definitely we need to bend Michael's ears about if those fees should all be updated in one fell swoop rather than have fees updated in the backflow program. And then if we have like on-call fees that need to be updated or meter installation fees that need to be updated, you just do all of that.
So that's a different ordinance or a different, policy? The fees, or is it built into this one? The fees for this built into here, or is it
I
also?
don't believe.
Not yet, no, these, even in the old ordinance, there's no fees.
We got work to do. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Just-
no, it,
Just out of curiosity, I mean, is there a willingness by staff to give customers an option of having us just say, hey, if you don't want to hire, a private inspector, we will do it for this amount?
I think we'd have to look at the cost as long as it's cost neutral, obviously would be the first question, but then does that cost recovery enable us to staff it effectively? We'll take a look at that.
I mean, I see us going out and doing these on a slack day, if there is such a thing, and go knock out 10 or 12 of them or something,
Yeah, I mean, if we still had meter readers and we could get them certified, but our distribution crews are pretty busy, so.
as of right now, what I have been doing is everybody who doesn't, get us a test result, we compile those numbers. I put that out to bid to the certified testers
Oh, okay.
and then give them the list. Whoever wins the bid, give them the list and they go and, you
Okay.
know,
Which might be, we'll have to structure it properly, but that might be a good option.
No, that's like a very fair way of doing it. Cost neutral to us. It's not costing us anything. We're collecting what we're paying them, hopefully.
well, and just a different example. So CPUD, our neighbors over here, they have a kind of a bid tester that does all the backflows. Customers don't do a thing. It just gets added onto your bill each year.
For those customers that have back.
All the customers, yeah,
It's-
all the backflow customers,
Right.
yeah.
Well,
So,
I think maybe we'll just have to see how, because I see it being one of those things that a lot of people just aren't gonna, they're not gonna know who to call. They're not gonna, I mean, maybe that's part of our, maybe we need to get a list of certified testers, be able to send that on.
Wait, you said
I mean, I
it'll be in
think
the letter. It'll be in the letter that we sent to them.
Yeah,
have to
but
get
it
it
could
done.
be just as much work for us chasing all that down as
That's
it
what I'm saying. I
is to
think-
just put it
yeah,
out to
it might
bid,
be,
knock
you
it
know.
out and then,
How would we know
Add
what
a
to charge them if
surcharge.
we're sending it out to bid and then giving it to the lowest
We're
bidder?
gonna charge them afterwards.
well, I think
What?
to Jesse's point, and that we'll look at what other agencies are doing too. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. There's a lot of agencies that are figuring this out. But if there's and maybe it's an opt-in program, so you'd have to get customer consent to do this, obviously, but if there's a way to do it where customers just opt in, we put it out to bid, get the most competitive price we can, knock out all of them, and then add a surcharge to the bill, and it's just done automatically, then we're not having to send out letters and follow up and, deal with folks that are.
Yeah,
not-
we'll get a ton of grief. Every
Yeah.
time we send that letter out, it's gonna be like it was a brand new day.
And we would still have to notify people because they're gonna get a surcharge on their bill that month, once a year, whatever it is, but,
I gotta say, the way we've been doing it's been working pretty efficiently. You do have those folks that just don't, they throw the letter in the mail and they end up on the, deficient list
Yeah.
that,
What's that first $400 is what's gonna stay?
that's, yeah. Yeah, the installment of the device is, yeah, that's a big
And you say 20%, only 20% of our, all commercial accounts are gonna need it and only 20% have it?
Only 20, so as of right now, only 20% of our.
So how many, just how many is that right there? That we know,
So
so
that
what's,
would be.
what's 80% of our,
So about, just over like 300, a little
Yeah.
over 300.
that's 300 pissed off commercial.
or
So
just
account.
over 400.
we contemplated ways to implement them. Perhaps it's when the business changes hands or the building changes hands. There's ways to kind of ease the pain, so to speak, and still comply with the regulation. And that's one of the things that we're going to pay attention to as we bring the ordinance forward.
And a time period, you know, you have so much time to install this device
Gotcha.
to ease up. It's not going to be next week, install this device.
All right, well, it sounds like we got a handle on it, so,
More to come.
yeah, okay, well, thank you.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay, 4B, SSMP update.
Afternoon. Davidson, Director Ratterman. I won't touch it again, promise. So you might recall what the sanitary sewer management plan is. It's a document that basically governs the effective operation of the wastewater collection systems, of which we have 13, hopefully soon have 12 here soon. The SSMP requirements were initially implemented in 2006 by the state, and from 2006 to 2023, it was required to have an audit of an SSMP every 2 years, and then a complete overhaul or an update, they call it, every 5 years. In the end of 2023, the state created a new general order for the sanitary sewer management program that then stretched out those timeframes. So audits are now every 3 years and wholesale updates are every 6 years. And when they did that, they also incorporated a different category for sewer. And so this will be the first wholesale update to the sanitary sewer management plan since that new state general order was issued in 2023. And SSMPs exist to prevent sewer overflows essentially. And the keywords here, regulatory compliance, ensures regulatory oversight over our collection systems. And really, this is all centered around protecting public health and safety. They want to understand your maintenance regimen for your collections. So within the SSMP, we describe how we maintain the system, how we analyze the system, how we determine whether there's a need for repair, where the trouble spots are. All of that is contained in this document. And then there's appendices. And one of the appendices is what we do to respond to a sewer spill. And so the appendix B, that's called, it's attached to this document. If you guys want to take a look, practice changes are involved, so you can see kind of how it's changed over the years. But really, one of the key components that has changed in this most recent iteration is that they've included a category 4. So all sewer spills are categorized from category 1 up to now category 4. Category 1 being the most egregious or the worst, so to speak. And within that, you have these requirements. You have a certain amount of hours. I think it's within an hour, you have to respond to a spill of over 100,000 gallons. If it reaches a waterway, you have to respond immediately, not only to the state, but also to OES. You have to get control numbers. So all of those descriptions of how the district goes about doing all of that work is contained in this. And really what this is an update to the SSMP, but it's a wholesale update, incorporating the amendments to the new state requirements that include category 4 sewer spills. And the focus is that this would go to the full board for adoption prior to July 1 of 2025, which is its regulatory requirement deadline. And then this would be the working document that our collections crews would live with until we do an audit in 3 years. And that audit would really kind of focus on capturing any names, phone numbers, contact information that might have changed within that time frame, because one of the key focuses of this document is that it's accurate. And so that's what we have before you, really just kind of looking for concurrence to bring the full board with the intent to adopt.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Scott?
Yeah, let me go through. I'm only to page 312 right now.
Okay, yeah, all, totally get it, all good. And just, you know, from a very high level, you know, we talk about every 8 years, we completely clean the sewer systems and we analyze them. We pump out the septic tanks every X years. This is how we respond to a sewer spill. This is who does what in the event of an emergency. All that's contained in the septic.
So when there's a spill, somebody pulls this up and we just comply with what it says.
Yeah, there's an appendix in the back and it's much smaller. And our folks have those in binders in their work trucks and they can respond to it if they have a question. We have a sewer spill response plan that kind of is actually in more depth than the appendix. But the appendix essentially covers what we do.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we really required, are all these phone numbers, really required to be in this public, in this agenda packet and sent out, available to the public to know every phone number of every one of our operators? This kind of,
That's their work number?
It is a public document, yeah.
Those are their work numbers though, right?
Yeah, we're
Right.
all, yeah, CCWD phone.
okay.
Yeah,
All right.
All right, sounds
So-
good.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Arnold Clarifier Project. Kevin.
Good afternoon, directors. Wanted to give you an update on the Arnold secondary clarifier, the wastewater treatment plant improvements. So this project's been in the works for quite a while now. So kind of the status right now is we're at bid ready status and we plan on advertising by the end of this month. The project funding, we secured the $10.2 million low interest rate loan from the USDA. It's like 3.25% for 4 years. We're required to get interim financing during the project, so we have another. We'll be bringing that to the board for the interim financing that you have to get because the USDA doesn't pay you till the reimbursement till the end of the project. Different than our AMI project where they paid on a regular basis. We initially were looking at, there was a big push to get state revolving funds for this project, but those funds have been limited in the last few years, and also we didn't meet their priorities, so they weren't going to be able to fund it. The USDA's had also had a lot of changes here recently. The retirement of our longtime engineer, Mike Sterinsky, kind of caused some trouble with the transition. He was deeply involved in this project, and now they have a new USDA contact, Robert, that he's tasked with managing all the projects in all of California. So he lives in Southern California. So he's way overburdened right now. And then he has a lot different requirements than Mike used to have. So we're working through that process and trying to get the final approval to bid the project. So this project also has Build America, Buy America requirements. That's new. It used to just be AIS, where you had to buy American iron steel. Now it's everything has to be American made. So this, we're updating our specifications and the contract documents to meet these requirements. The cost impacts of BABA, which is the Buy America or Build America, Buy America. They used to cause a lot of increase in cost, but with the volatility and tariffs, it might not be a bad deal for the project. So basically the project, it's a pretty good sized project. So it's a new secondary clarifier, an effluent pump station, Roswell's pump station, 2 new digesters, new blowers, electrical replacement, and site-wide utility and grading work, and new building. So one of the things that recently came up here when we were trying to get our agreement signed with PG&E and CPPA is that they gave us 2 options on the power. So the initial quote that we got from PG&E was for the secondary power. That was about $90,000, and that's what we included in the loan documents. And then CPPA came back and said, well, you can get primary plus upgrade to your electrical. And so that reduces the power. So like projected in July, they still have to vote on the rates, but the primary plus would be 11 cents per kilowatt hour, and a secondary would be 18 cents per kilowatt hour. So there's been some volatility in the last few years. Some years the prices are very close together, and sometimes they're a little bit further apart. But it looks like traditionally, if it kind of stays where it's been, with the primary, and they remain stable, the buyback period is about 9 years to invest that extra $112,000 up front. That's what we're looking at.
And just to clarify, the CPPA distinction between primary plus and secondary is you essentially buy the service drop equipment for PG&E upfront. So you pay an higher upfront cost for their equipment, but then you get a lower rate for the life of that facility. And so that's the calculation that Kevin's talking about. When we did the math on how that pencils out for this project, it usually doesn't pencil out unless there's significant, pretty significant load being served. And in this case, it looks like it's a pretty good investment to go ahead and pay that upfront cost to lock in lower rates for the life of the project.
So we've had that opportunity to make that choice on other projects, but those two CPPA rates were so close together that it didn't make any sense. But what is this?
We've done it a few other times as well. But yeah, the majority of our connections and almost all of CPPA's connections are secondary.
So it'd be 7 cents per kilowatt hour for the life of the product saving.
Not necessarily. That could fluctuate. That
Oh.
could change. That's what it is right now.
The PG&E could change there. It's a little bit of a gamble.
Yeah, okay.
So we just want them to, we're just looking for if there's any input on that.
It's hard to, yeah, what the hell?
Yeah.
If it's gonna change, if the 18, you're trying to make a decision on spending an extra $113,000, right, or $112,000 at the outset, in the hopes that you save over 112 during the life of the project. But does the secondary, oh, what is the first one called? Secondary?
Secondary and primary plus. The primary plus is the lower cost option, but the higher up cost. So I mean, it's historically it would be changed, but like in 2024, they had some additional costs where they brought the secondary and primary closer together. But historically, from what we understand from Dennis, there's been a savings, so. But you can't promise anything, so it's.
So, okay. Oh, I see. So these rates in the middle of the page for 23, 24, and 25 show the difference. If it had already been done.
Yeah, those are kilowatt hour per month, and that's your side, your connection, so it's a little bit, they don't correlate exactly with kilowatt hours, but it gives you some idea of the volatility.
And in 24, there was hardly anything. Okay, is this just informational?
Well, I don't know if it has to go back to the board because of the utility connection fee, so we were looking, we kind of got we were looking for some recommendations from the committee on whether we should move ahead with this.
You mean move ahead and pay the extra 112 or?
Yeah, so because it's something we need to get going at the beginning of the project, because the PG&E, they have a long lead time.
Well, what's the lifespan of this? I mean,
It's a
it's gonna last longer than 9 years, right?
Yeah, it's a 40-year lifespan, because we have a 40-year loan on the project, so,
And
yeah.
how long was this power agreement, or how long is?
The power agreements, we'd be on primary plus for the life of the project, but it could be 11 cents this next year, and it could be 13 next year,
But either way, it'll
17.
be a reduction every
It
year.
should be a reduction over secondary for life, just how big that reduction is.
So if we didn't do it over 9 years, if we did it over 40 years,
Oh, yeah, it should be like it should be like a $300,000 or $400,000 savings over the life of the project.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you
I
think
mean, even in
like
these 3 years,
Yeah.
there's 31,000 dollar savings
Yeah.
in these 3 years here. It's over 40 years. If it stays anywhere close, even if it's just 1,000, which is to 2024, even if it's like that every single year, that over 40 years,
Getting paid for something.
that'll be $40,000 right there. And if it does change, looks like it's worth it.
Yeah, that was what we came to also.
I would agree.
You were just testing our math skills here without calculators.
Well, I just want to bring up, it was a large expense, upfront.
Yeah.
So then, kind of next steps is, we continue working with the USDA, we'll get this project out to, the year, next couple weeks. And then we'll bring the construction base to the board for approval. And then, we'll move ahead with CPPA on these items.
All right,
Good idea. Thank you, Kevin. Must be like a penny wise, dollar foolish kind of decision.
yeah. Oh, proposed development project, Sam?
Good afternoon. So we're just bringing up the proposed developments that we have in our service areas, and throughout the Calaveras County that we're working with the county departments. That there is, increased interest in terms of, some residential and commercial, developments that have been proposed. And in the past, the board has requested that some of these items be brought up in front of the committee to discuss and kind of, share as to what the staff's been working in the background, and dealing with some of these improvements. I'll start with the smallest, and the smallest one that we have so far is the Hinterhouse Distillery. It's a pre-existing distillery. They've been in business for past 2-3 years. They're trying to increase their process and develop a product that in a timely fashion. So they want to kind of expand into an additional building for storage purposes and use the existing space that they have to increase like seating area and reduce their man hours in order to develop this product. And so we've been working with the operations and trying to figure out as to what the actual waste would look like. In the past,
How often are you going up there?
where
Daily.
I just ordered
At the end of every
Yeah, who
day.
else going up there? What?
Yeah, it's hard to find Sam these days. Yeah, I'm gonna vote in favor of these guys. So yes, they're adding another still into their process, trying to increase the production, but talking to the owner, and they don't seem to think that production increase in production is gonna be the primary focus. It's basically the time to have the product in the market. That's their primary focus, but this will definitely increase the waste that they will be generating in the future. So we'll have to kind of address that. And we just want to make sure that the strength of the waste that they're introducing into our system would be impacting the wastewater.
Does our ordinance on sewer, does it take into account the strength?
Not yet. But for in the past, the district has looked at the breweries in terms of as to enforcing some of the pre-treatment processes, so it won't impact the systems, the treatment itself.
So it's not volume, it's the content of the waste?
Yes, sir. So it's the IBOD or total suspended solids that eventually become an issue. If there is huge quantities compared to the existing waste that's been there, then it can actually impact the biolag system or the biological system that we have at the wastewater facilities.
Okay, it may cause us to have to change our whole treatment process, and we don't want that to happen.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So that's one of the smaller projects. Then in Valley Springs, we have a couple of proposed developments. One is the larger commercial project that is being proposed at the intersection of Highway 26 and Highway 12. We actually met up with the
the design team for them this morning, along with the county officials, to go over the pre-application process. And county laid out as to the conditions that they'll have to meet before they actually start filing for this application with the county. They have some aggressive approach as far as they want to go in terms of the development. They're proposing there's 60,000 square feet of retail and a gas station with car wash and like 100+ units of 100+ unit hotel and another apartment complex.
Where is this gonna be? Where is it proposed?
It's just past the auto zone off of Highway 12.
No.
Well, Oaks.
So you guys are getting, you're getting them mixed up here. This one, number 2 is
Oh,
what,
sorry. Yes, number 2 is different one. I started talking about number 3. I skipped ahead. And yes, so this one is
across from the golf course. I don't know if it's on the highway. Do you know if it's, the property's on the highway or is it back up in there?
so the one for the across golf course there, that property about that is right on Highway 26. So
The
that
range, where
one-
the range is?
yes,
In front of the range.
in front of the range that also.
Probably on
On
both
the
sides.
left-hand side, or that's where the old driving range used to be, and the front of the range is there? Or as you go into the range, the old driving range is on the right-hand side as you're.
That corner lot between Highway 26 and Quail Oaks,
Is Quail Oaks, where
Quail Oaks is
Vista Del Lago?
no, Quail Oaks is where the range is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's the property in front on the highway. Is it on each side of that Quail Oaks Road, do you know?
no, it's on one side.
Oh, it's just on that.
Yeah, there's 3 parcels that go around the range.
And we have no sewer over on that or water on that side of the road.
We do, currently, that area is actually out of our service area, so we will actually have to do a LAFCO amendment to.
And I keep bringing up the fact that we have, people in our service area with development projects that we don't have enough capacity to do all of them. So, I mean, we need to think about adding new service area when we have, pipes in the ground, I mean, already. I mean, are we gonna add more pipes and spread the distribution center out? I mean, it's just something to think about. Do we have the capacity to be adding new service area? And I mean, I don't, where would they even connect up to? Because this project would have to, I mean, I'm just trying to think of the, what we have in the ground there. The nearest connection for the sewer is gonna be over off Vista Del Lago where the school tie-in.
So we're looked at, I mean, they haven't applied for a concept review with the district yet, but we did look at a couple of ways for possibilities for connection. One, like you mentioned, would be to go down Mr. Del Lago, or the other possibility that we looked at is to have a pump station or a lift station on site for them to serve that development and pump it up towards St. Andrews and make a connection off of St. Andrews.
Oh, okay.
Didn't we just bring a big pipe across Vista Del Lago? For that medical building? I mean, not just 5-6 years ago?
So no, the existing infrastructure at on Vista Del Lago was able to accommodate the medical center.
Okay.
But any new development is going to have to offset their impact on capacity on the existing system. So we would only do it if it's mitigating that impact.
All right.
And then
Interesting.
the largest one is the development between Highway 26 and Highway 12, right by Valley Springs Chevron.
Yeah, I have a couple questions about that. I mean, I own property in this neighborhood. I don't believe it's adjacent to this one. I think there's a 5-acre parcel between me and this property. So I just don't know about conflict of interest.
Doesn't sound like a direct conflict, but if you're concerned about it, we can run it by Matt and make sure as this moves forward, before the board's asked to take any action on
Okay.
it.
This is across the street from the Chevron. Is that where the car wash is? Next to the
Yes,
Chevron and the car wash?
that's exactly.
Across the street from
Yeah.
there? Okay.
So they're proposing 100-room hotel, 81 storage units, retail, gas station, and fast food joints and some apartment complexes.
And this is the one that you met with the county?
Yes, sir. We met with them this morning, went over with the design team as to what they will have to do in order to make this move forward. In discussions with them, we did come across that they would like to phase this project. And the initial phasing that they would like to work on is the gas station and the fast food joint. That would be the primary drivers, and then they'll slowly start adding in residential, and hotel will be the last bit of development that they will do on that site.
Is this all the same developer?
They're all different developers.
Oh, okay. It's all the same property?
So the mixed use development in Valley Springs, though, that those are different parcels. They're owned-
32.31 acres,
Yes, sir.
two parcels, and they're owned by different people.
No,
No, they're owned by the
I
same.
think it's, I don't know who the registrar, it used to be a guy by the name of Vosti. And he was part of 8604 back in the day. But I believe that the number 3 here are those parcels that were owned by him now for 25, 30 years, whatever it was. I don't know exactly who, the fire marshal has sent me this, or not the fire marshal, but the chief sent me this plan a few weeks ago. So, I mean, I think this one actually might have a chance of actually occurring. Should have sewer over there, correct?
Yes, there's sewer right at the south end of the proposed parcel off
On that side of the highway, or,
on that side of the highway.
okay,
Yeah, they do have sewer right there, and they do have 10-inch water main that runs along Highway 26,
Yeah,
but that's
okay.
across the street.
all right, well, yeah, we probably run that by Matt, if you don't mind. I mean, I can, I'm pretty sure I know exactly where it is, and I know that there's a 5-acre parcel in between us. So I don't think I have a conflict with it, but I don't want there to be any problems, so. All right, anything else?
That's it, sir. Any
Okay.
other questions?
No, thank you.
Nope, thank you, Sam.
Oh, capital improvement updates, Kevin?
So I was just gonna go through all the projects we're working on just pretty quickly here. There's quite a long list, but starting Copperopolis water projects. So we got the copper B tank Clearwell. The copper tank's completed and we're filling with water, so they're doing the testing over the next couple of weeks. So we'll get that one online. The Clearwell tanks erected at the water treatment plant. I think the painters and sandblasters are supposed to be there at the beginning of June to coat that tank. Here last week or the week before, the pump station was taken out of service at the Clearwell, and we installed a new Y connection there at the booster pump station for the C transmission line that was bid. The next project's the Copper Cove Lake Tolic intertype project. So this is the water main that goes down Burns Ferry Road, and it's the loop that would go to Poker Flat. That would bypass the underwater crossing. So the design's at 90%, and we're gonna start soliciting proposals for the potholing at the tie-in locations. So it'll be a combination of our guys doing a couple of potholes and mainly a pothole service for the rest. So this funding for this project would be under that CIP loan number 2 that we've been talking about here recently. The next project is the C transmission line. This one's the one where we received bids for here couple months ago, and we haven't awarded it because we're working on the financing for it. It's a new 20-inch transmission line that goes from the copper water treatment plant all the way up to C tank. It also includes the booster pump upgrades at the water treatment plant. So we'll add a third pump there and install high head motors on the 2 existing pumps. And the last water project in Copper is the ozone replacement. This was entirely done by in-house district staff, the electricians and operation staff, and it replaced the old ozone generator with the modern equipment. Then up in Evans Pass, we got the sawmill tank project. So that design is complete and the environmental is complete. So we're looking at targeting the 2026 season to start that project, but that's also under the CIP loan number 2. And then the Big Trees Pump Station project, that one we aren't planning on design, beginning design till the 26-27 fiscal year. But we recently met with Cal OES to explore grant opportunities for this project to be combined with 4 other pump stations up in the Evans Pass area. We've been pretty successful in the past with Cal OES FEMA grants at those exact locations where these pump stations are at. And Cal OES thought the project looked really good for the grant. So we'll be probably pursuing that. And it'll allow us to kind of use the funds that we had for pump station 4 to kind of take on a few more at the same time. Jenny Lynn Wallace water projects. So we got the Jenny Lynn Clearwell. That was completed. We brought that back to the board here recently. The Jenny Lynn A to B, DA Wood is starting to pick up some momentum on that project. They got about 9,000 linear feet of the new 14-inch. So they're about halfway done with the mainline pipe installation. They're dropping back now and installing hydrants and PRVs.
Are they gonna go like halfway and then pave?
Yeah,
Or
they
is
did the plug paving, so they took out the cold mix temporary asphalt and they put hot mix in the trench.
I saw most of it's a lot better than it was. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
so they, they'll keep doing that as they go down
And then when it's all over, the county's gonna come in and overlay, right?
we're doing the overlay, but the county's paying for it, half of it. And then we have the Wallace tank replacement. So this one, the design environmental is done. Construction is going to start probably in the 2026 construction season. We're kind of trying to group that one with the sawmill project so they can work on one in the winter time and one in the summertime type of deal. I think it work out well. West Point water projects, we got the backup filter. Final work's underway on the metal building replacement. So once that's done, we'll close that project out. The drought water supply project, that's the dam raise at the West Point Reservoir. FEMA funded project to increase the capacity from 50 acre feet to 150 acre feet. We got the 30% design submittal and we're really pleased with the work that Blackwater is doing on that. And then we're doing some exploratory drilling within the dam here next week.
That's the Bummerville?
The West Point, oh yeah, sorry, the Bummerville, the West Point Reservoir, the Bummerville. So yeah, that one we expect to have a 60%, or we'll submit the 30% to DSOD. And then they'll have, it takes them a couple of months to review it and get the 60% into them. And then once we get the 60% in, we can move into phase 2, the NEPA environmental review by FEMA. And then we'll move into construction after that. And then Arnold sewer projects, we already talked about the Arnold wastewater treatment plant improvements getting here in the next couple of weeks. The Copper Cove sewer projects, we got the SAF treatment plant, the pre-treatment for the tertiary. So the SAF was ordered. We'll have the shop drawings here in the next couple of weeks, and then around the end of the year, it should be ready for delivery. We met with Hydroscience, who's our design engineer for the tertiary treatment plant project.
Kevin, what's SAF?
Suspended air flotation. So it, micro bubbles go in and it kind of creates a froth. And it picks up all that algae and stuff in the water and brings it to the surface, and there's a screed that comes off the top, and that pulls the kind of wet, looks like a soap scum off the top of the SAF, and then that'll go. That's we were just kind of exploring initially the plan before I kind of got involved in this project was to have these kind of bins that have filters in them. And they, then you haul those bins off to the disposal site. But we're looking at doing drying beds instead. We've been working with Damon and his group because a lot less maintenance involved in the drying beds, and we think we get the material a lot drier and potentially make it easier to dispose of. Then the connected project with that is the Pond 6 dam raise. So that one, we did we're kind of holding off on most of that because we don't have a lot of budget till the final letter reports finalized for that. But we're able to do the early season biological monitoring, which you have to do in the springtime. So we got that done. There's been a lot of changes in leadership at the Army Corps of Engineers. We've got another PM this week, so it's like number 6, I think. And then the senior guy is going on leave for 6 months. So it's kind of been a revolving door there. It's really hard to get traction. And the senior leadership that's supposed to sign our letter report has also been changing. So hopefully they get that all situated here in the next month or so, but it's been really hurting the process. Now moving to Lock Antenna sewer projects, we got the BioLac. So HydroScience is working on the 90% design for the plant improvements at Lock Antenna. So those should be here in the next few months. We should have a complete design for that treatment plant. We've kind of held off on the environmental for the time being, but depending on when that looks like it's going to go, we'll pull the trigger on that also. And then we got the Huckleberry lift station project. So Loomis engineers preparing the 90% design for the lift station. We spent a lot of time value engineering that project because the initial cost of that project came in a lot higher than our initial estimates. But I think we got a really good design now that will be cost effective. And then West Point Willoughbyville sewer project, the West Point consolidation. We got a 1-year time extension due to delays that happened early on in the project. So that'll be coming back to you guys at the board because it needs board authorization. So we'll have in the financial closeout documents, this will be part of that. So that'll be coming to the board here soon.
Well, and that means it'll be done. It'll.
We have to be done
complete?
well, they're pretty well done now. They've crews are dewatering the Willoughbyville pond right now. We had pump start up today and tomorrow at the lift station. And then we'll bring in water to our facility from Willoughbyville. And then we close out and get the new permit once the project's closed out. So they have we have 6 months about to finish the construction. And then we have 6 months to get our new permit finalized in the water board.
We're looking at about a year from today.
A year from today, it'll be fully closed out, but the construction will be done here in the next couple of months.
You know, for this report, what I would have liked to have seen, and this is a great report and a lot of things, you covered a lot of stuff, a lot of updates. It'd been nice to see a dollar figure associated with each of these projects. Or at least an whatever we had it estimated as, or some of those that are completed, what it actually was. I don't know. Just,
that's easy. We have that information, so.
yeah, it's in it,
That's-
probably in a spreadsheet that was filed with this stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, anything else?
Right.
Alrighty, where we at now? Old business developer projects.
So these are the existing developer projects that the engineering staff has been working with and going over. We've presented these reports in the past and there hasn't been a whole lot of change in Copperopolis CV developers. They have Reed's Turnpike Pump Station, Town Square Lift Station, enforcement projects combined. And Reed's Turnpike is almost done with design. We're waiting on the developer to work with the owner to establish the boundaries for the project and see what the easement would look like so they can sign off on that and move the project forward. They've made consistent improvements at the Town Square Lift Station that already exists. They've added alarming system, they've made some new connections, updated the piping that was in the existing wet well to meet the current district standards. And so that it could be operational and work with the county in terms of temporary facilities. So they've been making all those changes. Force main design has been done to 50% from the new proposed lift station, but the district is asking them to extend the force main to the pre-existing lift station. That would allow the developer to work and eliminate the new lift station that was originally proposed. This would save cost and also make it easier for the district to maintain facilities in the future. And
Can I ask a question about Town Square?
yes, sir.
Where does that lift station lift to? Where does it pump to from the Town Square?
Currently?
Yeah,
So there's the development has some storage septic tanks that store all this waste. And they're about 20,000 gallons in capacity. From there, they get pumped over to CCWD wastewater facility down the street.
pumped in,
Septic tanks or pumper trucks, sorry.
okay. And then the other two, Reed's Turnpike and the Force Main, are totally different projects.
Force main is associated with the lift station. So the district is working with the developer to design and build a force main that would take the waste from that lift station all the way to this lift station in Saddle Creek. So from that point on, it could be hauled over to the district facilities.
Hauled, like trucked,
No,
pumped. Oh,
Yes.
okay. So how that Force Main, how many miles, feet, yards
it's about 20,000 feet, I believe.
from
From
Town Square to
from the
Saddle?
Town Square, the
That's a long
current lift
ways.
station where it's at.
Yeah.
Well, once.
What it just. And what is? Who, 3 miles, thank you. The, how much is that? I mean, isn't it like millions per mile?
The cost of
The
project?
cost of putting in a force main? And who
Yeah, I
can-
don't think we have a detailed cost estimate yet,
But
but yes.
I mean, looking down your thumb at putting in big pipes like that, that's
Well, I mean,
8-10 million?
A to B transmission line right now is roughly the same length.
Yes,
Right.
they're about 20,000 feet.
I think there's some challenges. Yeah, I mean, I guess they each have different, there's differences, but that's a $11 million project,
Yes.
And who
roughly.
who would pay?
But that includes service lines. There's some other stuff going on there. So, but this one has a pump station. So,
At least 8 to 10.
Yes, sir.
And who would pay for that? That'd be all on us?
no, we're not paying for any of that. That's all to serve that development, and they have financing that we're coordinating with them to finance the project on, but it's all.
It's the same
paid
thing
for.
with the Town Square lift station work that you were just talking about, all in the developer? Okay. All right, no, just curious. I haven't heard about that in a long time.
Yeah, it ties back to the original agreement that the district had with the developer at that time. And now that they want to expand, or the current developer wants to expand or develop the existing infrastructure is needed to haul off all that. So that's what the district is calling out.
It's certainly taken longer than we would have liked, but they are working on it. They are moving forward on it.
Director Thomas hates when I call that Town Square a fake town, fake Copperopolis. But could we start referring to that in our reports going forward?
This is torture for him because he's not allowed to comment, but he is listening. Somewhere in Santa Barbara, a lamp just broke in a hotel room.
Oh, I would have looked at the camera if I would have known he was.
I know, we don't have the TV on for some reason.
Oh.
Hey, Russ.
So the next one is Jenny Lind Elementary School, Force Main. We've talked about this, the design has been finished and the specs have been completed. District staff did meet up with the Calaveras Unified School District in order to go over the details about the construction aspect of this project. And they are making progress and moving forward with the bidding process.
Just out of curiosity on the, I mean, how are they gonna water the grass?
Water the grass. Oh, is that their spray field right now?
Yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, they may see an increase in water consumption if they're no longer have that water supply, but I can't imagine they're using it on grass that anyone is using.
I don't know what I believe they were. I think they were. I think that was all part of their system.
That would surprise me. Just to expand on that one a little bit, though, Kevin and I went and met with the current interim superintendent and the new operations and maintenance manager. Really positive, productive meeting. Feel like we're turning the page in terms of that coordination. And we offered to present to their board or have them attend one of these. I think some increased collaboration or just coordination between our boards and between our agencies is going to would be beneficial, because now that hopefully we're going into construction soon. So we're going to be, boots on the ground side by side with their team, and we want to make sure it all goes smoothly. So we're talking to them about, potentially restructuring how the construction management process is how it was conceived originally and what we think it should look like. Because we obviously have to inspect this thing. We're going to own it for the life of it. And so we need to be very, involved in the inspection and construction management process, but we don't want that to become inefficient. We don't want to be an additional layer. We want to try to figure out how, the most efficient way to do that. So they're working with us on that, and we'll keep you posted.
Right.
And then we have LGI Homes. They're already working on the design for the lift stations. So if you recall, the new development subdivision is going to have 2 lift stations. There's a smaller lift station that is to collect waste from the northwest corner of the development, and then from that point on, it will pump into the larger lift station. And we just received the design, 50% design on the lift station, which the district staff will review and be getting back to the designers so they can accommodate our comments and feedback in order to get us a better product.
That's the housing development that's on the other side of the highway on Vista Del Lago.
Yes,
How many units?
it's about 156 units.
156?
Yes. That's all I had on the developer projects.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, other updates, one?
Good afternoon.
We're going to give a summary of other updates and studies. We'll start with La Contenta sewer system, I&I study, weather flows, data was collected. And now we are going to be collecting in June dry weather flows so we can compare them, the two. And that's going to come with a final report and recommendation from Loomis Engineering. So the Ebbets Pass Water System Master Plan and Water Model. A kickoff meeting was is scheduled for this Friday with Hydroscience. They're the engineer doing the master plan. The first task is going to be to develop the entire new system for hydraulic model for that area. All right. And then it's going to be La Contenta sewer capacity fee study update. Hydroscience Engineering is updating the La Contenta sewer master plan to incorporate current population projections, revise project scopes, and update the cost estimates. What we're doing, so I'm going to cover the Procore construction management software. So engineering staff has been meeting weekly with Procore integration specialists to configure software modules to meet the district needs. We anticipate utilization of the software hopefully in our next CIP project, and it's going to help us with pretty much with software is construction.
What does the software do? What it,
It keeps track of requests for informations, but plans, changes, and it's all inverted into a software cloud base. So whatever we do in the office, we can see it in the field, or construction inspectors can actually see it too. And then the construction companies, as they, if, let's say, have some questions, they can automatically upload them there. So somebody in the office can.
so you start with designing with it, and then it builds.
No, well, the design work is gonna be done separately. This is for construction. So once the design is uploaded or the plans are uploaded, then if there are any questions, pretty much eliminates the middleman being the email. Right now, if somebody has to, or if somebody has questions, they communicate us via emails,
Oh.
which that adds another layer of copy pasting things to our files. So
Okay.
hopefully, it's gonna speed up things. And the last thing we have is sewer ordinance. Engineering operations teams and finance teams have initiated planning efforts to define the scope of proposed revision to the sewer ordinance. Staffs are reviewing ordinance from other jurisdictions and considering comprehensive overhaul. And this studies have been budgeted for the 2025 fiscal year.
All right, do you have any questions?
Nope.
All right, thank you. Oh, General Manager, do you have any comments?
Yeah, a couple of things, because we're in between, it's kind of a long break between board meetings here. So I will address a couple of things. As we announced at the board meeting last week, there will be a contingent of us at the Aqua Conference next week. And then, so and then a gap, we don't have a board meeting until the 28th. So the main thing I wanted to address, we don't usually drop breaking news at engineering committee meetings. But because of that gap in board meetings here, I wanted to make the announcement here that Director Cicada has decided to resign her seat from the board. And so we will, right on the heels of Director Underhill, we will be initiating another search for to fill the vacant seat. And so we'll be issuing that notice here in the near future. So figured I might as well, talk about it while we have a public meeting available. And then we'll coordinate with President Davidson on the timing of the appointment to fill that vacancy, but it'll be similar to the process that we just went through, where we're recruiting and asking for letters of interest from folks within that district to apply for that position. And Director Cicada was very gracious about how she handled it, just changing circumstances and that led to that decision. But so we will.
What's her date of resignation?
Cicada, what's that?
Her date of resignation?
May 22nd is the effective date. So actually before our next board meeting. And we have a pretty full agenda already planned for the 28th, our next agenda. So might not want to make dinner reservations that day, but we'll see about the timing of appointment, whether it's before or after that to fill that vacancy. So that is the big news, and we'll be sending out like I said, the public recruitment notice here very soon. That was the main thing for now. I'll leave it at that.
Okay. All right, Director comments? Do you have any comments? Radley?
Oh, yeah. No, in the interest of time, I've already notified or advised that I'm going to the Aqua Conference. You going to Aqua Conference?
I am. Okay, I have nothing to comment on other than the meeting. Our next committee meeting will be July 1st. Meeting's adjourned.